It is Thursday, August 22nd. This is Jaguars Happy Hour. And now, a guy who demands to be referred to as my liege, J.P. Shadrick.
And welcome in. It's Jaguars Happy Hour going into the final preseason game of 2024. Busy hour ahead. The final tune-up tomorrow in Atlanta at Mercedes-Benz Stadium, the Jaguars and the Falcons. The starters will get some time, first half. We'll have the Baptist Health Injury Report coming up, and then at 5 o'clock, the Doug Pederson Show. Our final show without the head coach. He'll be with us starting week 1 when the show comes back ahead of the Dolphins game. We're on Tension XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick with Jaguars analyst Jeff Lageman. Good afternoon.
Can we end the show early today? I mean, we got to get to Atlanta.
Yeah, better. I mean, it's a long walk.
Let's go. Let's can we
speed it up?
Somebody else in here to finish up the last bit of this show, and then we can
skedaddle,
head north.
Head
you know how
I-75
is, JP.
It can be rough at times between Macon and Atlanta.
That might be the worst traffic of any city in the country.
Yeah. Especially down in town there. It's bad.
Oh, it's terrible.
Yeah.
And I've been to New York and around L.A. Atlanta's pretty bad.
Certain times of day, it's really bad.
Pretty bad.
That's right.
But I'm looking forward to this thing getting over with.
Just get this done.
But you know the one thing I don't like? 16 days.
Between the final preseason game and the regular season opener.
What are we going to do for 16 days?
Watch college football? You'll probably work on the farm.
College football,
I'll do whatever it is that I do. Yeah.
Yeah, college football just doesn't do it for me. I mean, I wish.
You, man. I'm going to watch it.
I'm just so used to. I mean, this is the longest span between the last preseason game to the opener in NFL history. I think. I mean, unless they did it back in the 1920s, longer. I don't know.
Did they do it last year?
Was it? I don't think it was this long. I think it was like
close,
ended on a Thursday, and then you played the. Was it the same?
I think when they went to 17, it changed to something
similar
to this.
It's just, and maybe it's just.
No, I think the last game might have been on a Saturday, so maybe it was 15 days.
There it is,
kind of deal.
There it is
my guess.
I think that's it. I think you drilled it.
Yeah,
but I mean, it's like it takes forever to get to the opener. Let's go. You know, the crazy thing is that the cuts still have to be in.
That Tuesday after.
Yeah, after this
it's coming Tuesday.
After the game tomorrow night, the Tuesday after, got to make the cuts.
Right. And there'll be you can go claim guys off waivers. And some other things could change.
That's the part I think that gets interesting after this game and then this weekend and then cuts the first part of the week, next week. There's a lot of time to tweak and juggle your roster a little bit. Also, time to execute trades, right? So I'm not saying that anything's going to happen, and I haven't heard any birdies whispering in my ear because I'm half deaf anyway, but I'm just saying is that there's a lot of time before the opener that things could happen. Things could happen.
I like this. I like this.
Just saying.
Things need to happen. You know what? This is a team that is always looking to get better somehow, right?
Look at what Atlanta did. I mean, in the last...
They just got a couple pass rushers.
I mean,
right?
they traded for Matt Judon and then signed Justin Simmons, the safety, all in the matter of the last week, I think it's been. And there's a lot of holdouts and hold-ins going on. We were talking before the show. I mean, if you would have asked me 15 years ago what a hold-in was, I would tell you I have no idea. For real. I mean, have you ever heard of that term prior to the NFL lately?
Recently, no.
It's so odd. You know, with what Brandon Ayuk holding in. Okay, the wide receiver, Jamar Chase, the Bengals holding out, right? Is he holding in or is he holding out?
He's holding something. It's not a new contract, apparently, but he's
in or out.
Something.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, it's crazy these days, but that's just what it is.
The starting left tackle for the 49ers.
Yeah,
arguably the best left tackle in football is holding out. He's got 3 years, $75 million left on his deal. I don't know about you, JP.
It's a new world.
I think I'd be in there for $75
so?
million in 3 years.
You would be? You wouldn't be holding out? You say your agent, sir, you're crazy? I'm going to work?
Oh.
Yeah. I don't know. The NFL season is almost here. You don't want to miss the matchups this season, whether you want to become a season ticket member, catch 3 or more games with Bundle at the Bank, or experience the season with Prowl Pass. There's a plan for every fan. Get locked in at jaguars.com/tickets or call 904-633-2000. It's Jaguars Happy Hour, 1010XL, 92.5 FM. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. And the Jaguars starters will get time in this game. And most of the first half, Doug Pederson has said that earlier this week. We'll hear from him coming up in the Doug Pederson show a little bit later at 5 o'clock. But that includes the starting 5 offensive linemen that will be on the field together in a game for the first time in this preseason. Offensive coordinator Press Taylor discussed on Wednesday.
We do feel very good about the progress we've made in both aspects, but particularly the run game, of just our targeting, our identification, of what we're trying to get accomplished, of getting essentially 11 guys on the exact same page with every single look we see. Now, in terms of moving a defender from point A to point B, that's the part that you're not 100% sure you've been able to see yet, other than when we get in these games. And we haven't played all 5 of our guys together at the same time yet, or our anticipated 5. Too many snaps at the same point yet. So that's something that we'll continue to see. Again, we have time moving into week 1 before we get ready for that, but we're confident in where we're headed with that.
So, Logs, there's the offensive coordinator talking about the O-line as a whole. What do you want to see out of the starting 5 for the first time together in a game?
Well, I want to see him play well. I want to see him stay healthy. I want to see him protect Trevor. I want to see the running game get going. And I think all of those are attainable because the Falcons aren't playing anybody.
Yeah, right. It should be.
That might be the one downer to the game tomorrow night is that, look, the Jaguar starters are playing great, but I want to see them play against other starters. I don't want to see them play against Bob next week. He's going to be selling insurance, and John, he's going to stay in the gym and work out because he may end up getting called up to a practice squad. I don't want to see him against those guys. I want to see him against starters, guys that are going to be playing in the regular season. And I guess that's a Raheem Morris philosophy, Sean McVay philosophy.
Yeah.
And then if you want to go to their quarterbacks, my head might explode.
Really?
What are they doing?
So they got Cousins, and they drafted Penix.
With, I think, the 8th overall pick in the first round.
Very high.
Look, and a lot of people criticize them for that because Kirk Cousins has like $100 million guaranteed in the next 2 years. And Kirk Cousins hasn't played yet in the preseason, has he?
I don't think so.
Okay. Michael Penix played the first preseason game, about 20 snaps, ballpark, give or take.
Yep.
And then didn't play in the second preseason game. And then Raheem Morris comes out this week and says that Michael Penix is not going to play this week because we've seen enough. Hello? Seen enough of what?
Seen enough, I guess. I don't know. You can only take him for what he says. It's their team. I don't know. Like, what do you want?
I want to see him play. I mean, and
you want to see him? Yeah.
I want to see him play, first of all, because I'm a fan of the NFL. I want to watch the players that you're supposed to see. He's a rookie who hasn't played a down of real NFL football. And he's not playing because of why? Give me a good reason. I'll buy it.
Apparently, I don't know. I don't have the. I don't work in Atlanta.
What the heck is going on in Atlanta?
In the world? What are we doing? So to that point,
I'm angry about that.
I can tell you're getting a little.
I'm angry.
This is not angry. I've seen you
angry for me. It's not.
I've seen you angry.
Really angry.
This is not angry.
But it's ridiculous.
You're a little
perturbed.
Peeved.
I'm a little perturbed. It's ridiculous.
So to that point, Jag starters going, Atlanta starters not. Is it a
Taylor
big,
Heineke? By
is
the
it
way.
a big issue to you if
who is John Paddock?
I don't know. If the Jag starters do not perform well, is that alarm bells going off, or is that just a one-off? Depending on the scenario.
Sound the alarms if they don't play well.
You think so?
Yeah, I mean, because you're playing against the backups. right? And you're using this as a tune-up to go into the regular season with some momentum, and if you're playing against the backups and you don't play well, I don't want to say it's cause for alarm, but it'd be like –
Well, you just said ring the alarm bells, so that's an alarm, right?
Okay, let's ring them if they don't play well.
You would ring it. You would ring them.
I would ring them. Wow. Because if they're playing again against Bob, who's going to be selling insurance, and John, who's going to continue to work out and wait for a practice squad opportunity, shouldn't they play well?
In theory, on paper. Are the games
they should play well.
Here's another thought about this, too. You have Bob who's selling insurance in 2 weeks and so in the practice squad.
Well, John.
Whatever. John, Bob.
Yeah.
This is their last chance to put something on tape, so they're going to go above and beyond and, in theory, play a little recklessly at times. You got to prepare yourself for that, right? A guy trying to really make a name for himself or something.
Hey, look, this is the NFL.
Yeah.
I mean, the guys that are frontline guys are frontline guys for a reason. The guys that are bubble players are bubble players for a reason. And I'm not trying to be critical of them, but reckless means playing hard.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, starting caliber NFL players play hard every week. I mean, that's why they're starting caliber players, so I don't worry about that part. But I get your point, and that could some players be at risk because a guy's trying to make a name for himself and he may end up taking a cheap shot that's not according to code, the unwritten code.
The unwritten code, right? Yeah.
Yes, something like that could happen, but I mean, chances are no. I mean, those type of players usually don't last long, but I will go back a few years ago, and I think it was Casey who had the hit in a preseason game.
On Marquise Lee.
On Marquise Lee, which was ridiculous. I mean, now if you're talking about something like that, could that happen? Well, that wasn't a player that was playing out of control. That was a player that I thought just made an incredibly poor decision in a preseason game.
Yep.
That's one of the worst hits I've ever seen.
Right on the knee.
In a preseason game.
Down the field, too. It was a weird –
Marquise Lee had no chance of protecting himself. No chance. And Casey, the defensive back, literally goes right at the knee with a completely defenseless receiver. That was terrible. Terrible. Now, should Casey have been able to walk off of that field unscathed? Absolutely not.
Oh, you would have gone after him.
Yeah.
There would have been the unwritten code.
That would have been there. It would have been a code red issue.
Did you order the code red? Wow.
There might have been a code red happening.
Let's hope we don't have any of that issue this week.
That was bad.
That was not a good one.
I'm knocking on wood. No injuries.
Is this
JP.
real wood in here?
It is wood. This is actually particle compressed wood underneath of this laminate.
Good to know. We're back in a moment, and we'll get into the quarterback play. And the Jaguars signed another quarterback this week. And he'll probably play in the game tomorrow.
Yeah.
Welcome back, EJ Perry. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. This is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elace, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit Elace.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
Headquartered in Jacksonville, Florida, CSI Companies partners with leading healthcare and technology organizations nationwide to deliver workforce solutions. CSI prides itself on building meaningful relationships and provides personalized operations to fuel the success of businesses, both big and small. Whether it's finding the right talent for a job or seamlessly managing a project from start to finish, CSI has 3 decades of experience in getting the job done. This is your workforce solutions reimagined. Visit CSICompanies.com.
Jaguars fans, huddle up. Do you own a vehicle made in the last 10 years? If your car is outside of factory warranty or with no warranty coverage, get the best defense against expensive auto repairs with CarShield, the official auto protection partner of the Jaguars. With plans to fit every budget, CarShield helps you cover up to 5,000 parts and systems. Call 800-471-1223 now or go to carshield.com/Jaguars. That's 800-471-1223. Coverage varies by plans. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
For us, treating cancer is personal. We're Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center, and we know that every patient is unique. So you'll have a plan created by world-renowned doctors and tailored to your needs. And everyone here will support you every step of the way, so you're physically, emotionally, and spiritually strong for the journey. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Locations in downtown, Baptist South, and Clay. Visit BaptistMDAnderson.com.
Does propane power your home or business? Count on AmeriGas for expert propane delivery with a neighborly smile. At AmeriGas, the official propane partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, their drivers deliver for Duval. Their local team will keep your home or business running smoothly throughout football season and beyond. Call 844-PRO-JAGS for a free propane quote today. Grilling this tailgate season? Visit AmeriGas.com to find your closest cylinder exchange location and keep it teal with a custom Jaguars wrapped grill tank.
Welcome back, JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, Jaguars Happy Hour from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube, as always, ahead of preseason week 3. Jaguars Falcons, it's a 7 o'clock kickoff time. 7:06 officially tomorrow night from Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Is the Oculus open or closed tomorrow night, or do you know yet? Haven't looked at the weather.
I haven't seen the weather forecast, so
it's a great stadium.
I don't recall being. It's too hot to have it open.
Probably too hot.
Yeah, it's too hot.
Yeah, man. It's not a huge opening.
I personally would rather have the air conditioning on about 65 and have it all closed.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
If they're asking you, that's your answer.
That would be my answer.
Fine.
And I can tell you this, there wouldn't be as many rear ends in the seats if they're going to open it up and have that place be, I think the high.
Yeah, but it's not a huge, that's the thing. I think they can have it open and then
just pour the AC to it.
Because it's not huge. Like, it's not like
it's big enough.
Indianapolis where the whole roof opens.
It's big enough to have the air conditioning just go goodbye.
Hot air rises, though, Logs.
Yeah,
that's that last science class I was in.
That's great. In a lab, JP.
Right. So that's coming up, of course, Friday night, and then Jags are off, I believe, Saturday, Sunday.
Yeah.
And then back at it. There will be some workouts early next week for the team, and then they'll have the Labor Day weekend off as well. Quarterback play, we'll see Trevor Lawrence on the field for the first half and his most extensive work. I think he played 9 snaps in preseason week 1.
Yeah, that's about right.
And didn't touch the field last week. And
had a headset on last week.
He did. That was good. And then
I wonder if he's going to call plays.
Plays?
When he comes out.
Call them.
I don't know. Did you read the whole thing about Dak Prescott is not going to play in the last preseason game and he's going to call plays? So, like Trevor, he gets a half of football in the second half. They give him a headset. Here,
you're
Trevor,
just
call plays.
Throw gasoline on the play calling fire with that.
I'm not trying.
What are you talking about?
I'm not trying to criticize.
What in the world are you talking about?
Yeah, I have nothing against the play calling. I think the play calling is fine. I'm just saying is that if you want to get your starter ready, keep his mind active in the game.
It's not a bad idea. I get it, but
I think that would be cool to see how he would call a game.
What if he's just like goes all Terry Bradshaw and calls the game by himself?
Or all Peyton Manning.
Peyton
Manning.
Any of those guys
did that.
Right.
Terry Bradshaw used to do that and caught a little bit of flack about it.
Sure he did.
But, oh, by the way, he won 4 Super Bowls.
That's right.
Play calling was pretty good.
Mac Jones got the bulk of the time last week, and then with C.J. Beathard with a groin injury, the Jaguars have brought back E.J.
Let me just stop you there because there was a term that was used by Doug Pederson. He said re-injured.
Yes.
He didn't say injured. Mm-hmm. He used the term re-injured,
yes,
and he used it multiple times because if you go back a while back, was it last year?
It was June
or 2 years
of 22.
22,
off-season
so
program.
2 years ago. Mm-hmm. CJ had a groin injury, and there was even a question of would he even be ready to go.
He was carted off the field. It was in the stadium because the Jags were practicing in the stadium.
Really
that
bad
time.
injury.
Yeah, and they had to lift him up. 4 guys lifted him up and put him on the cart, got him out of there, and he was back, but it took a while.
So when you re-injure something that was as significant as that, what's the outlook with the groin now? I think that's a big concern.
So we'll see what that in the coming weeks has to offer. But the Jaguars have signed E.J. Perry, who they've had on practice squad portions of the last 2 years out of Brown. And Perry now a third-year player in the NFL officially, but he could get some time in the game tomorrow night
I think he will. I mean,
he knows the offensive,
yeah.
All the terminology.
He knows that he was here, last year for a little bit and 2 years ago for a little bit. Spent time on the USFL Michigan Panthers roster a little bit this past spring.
I know
a little
you're a
bit
big USFL buff.
Yeah, I watch it all the time.
You're big into those games.
Yeah, watch
Spring
a lot
football.
of it.
Right up your alley.
Do you watch USFL?
I worked some of the XFL games a couple years ago.
Okay.
It was like a spotter, but I didn't watch it every week. No.
Did like Breland Speaks? Didn't he go to Michigan? Wasn't he at Michigan too?
Yeah,
he was the USFL Defensive Player of the Year.
Yes.
He's on the Jaguars roster. Signed him a couple weeks ago, but I don't know if he was Michigan or if he was somewhere. I think it was Michigan. Defensive Player of the Year for the USFL, though. That's impressive. And he's had a couple sacks so far this preseason for the Jaguars. Maybe somebody to keep an eye on. I don't know. Just throwing it out there. You get a couple sacks in the preseason. There's reason to notice.
What do you want to see from the quarterbacks? Lawrence,
I want to see
Perry just get out of the game.
Well,
right?
I want to see the quarterbacks at 100% completion, about 11.4 yards per attempt, touchdown interception ratio of about 4-0.
I feel a little. There's a little bit of sarcasm going on.
No, I just want to see. I want to see efficient. I want to see the offense operate fast. Because I think an offense that gets to the line of scrimmage fast, it gives them flexibility to do better things, to change the play is kind of what I'm thinking there. Want to see him clean. I don't want to see any turf scars on the jersey, helmet, shoulder pads, anything. Nothing. Knee pads even. Nothing. I want nothing. I want the quarterback clean the whole game. Want to see the receivers, catch the ball, play well. I just want to see a real nice warm-up, a real nice tune-up. And then I know that Doug Pederson talked about a half. But the one part that I'm thinking if I were the coach, and I'm not, just clarify that.
You're not?
I'm not. But if I were, because the Falcons are not playing guys, I'm telling all my guys a half, just so that their mind is ready to play a half. But if our offense looks in sync, quick, functional, ready to go, midway through the second quarter, get out of there. Let's get the other guys in there. Let's go. That's enough. Because I know that there's a lot of merit to playing guys for a half to get them ready for a regular season opener. But the merit kind of goes down a little bit when you're playing backups of the Atlanta Falcons.
What if you want to work in a 2-minute situation? In theory, you can't plan that.
I'll just run hurry up. Hurry up in the second quarter.
Okay.
Let's go no huddle. Rock and roll. I mean, it's not 2 minute, but it's no huddle.
Well, you could say, hey, let's hit this time mark on the clock and get points by this time mark and call it a 2-minute drill if you wanted to, in theory, right?
Yeah, I mean, the clock management is a little bit different, but the hurry up is kind of the functioning of a 2-minute offense somewhat. So, but no, I get it. I get what you're saying. But, you could play a whole half and you may not get a 2-minute.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, somebody's going to have the ball last, whether it's your defense on the field or your offense on the field.
Yeah, but the most important thing, you want to see everybody stay healthy. I mean, you want everybody to walk out of that game and go, oh, yeah, felt good, you know, broke a nice sweat, feel good about my performance, feel good about our performance, no nicks, no bruises, no cuts, no broken bones, no torn up ligaments or tendons, and let's go. Let's get ready for the regular season opener.
Jaguars receivers in this game. Christian Kirk with a calf issue. Doesn't sound long-term, so that's a good sign, but most likely will not go in this game tomorrow night. So more Parker Washington most likely in that role.
I'm excited about watching Parker.
He's been playing well. Another guy playing well is Brian Thomas Jr. He's been looking better and better on the practice field, and then a big catch in each of the last couple games for him, and that gives him a lot of confidence moving ahead.
Let's go to the catch that he had in the last game, which was a third down that Mac Jones threw. It was on the east sideline, and I think it was a 3rd and long. And what was impressive about that play with Brian is that it was kind of like the route. He showed almost like a double move. He was showing a double move that he's going to go deep, put on the brakes, and then he came back. It was an excellent route. You know, one of the knocks, I think, on Brian, because, I mean, this can be said about a lot of the young wide receivers when they come into the league, is that they're not great at route running. They don't understand some of the concepts and how you can create separation by doing certain things in the route itself. Mm-hmm. But he clearly understood exactly what he was doing on that play and accomplished it in beautiful fashion. He ran the defensive back off initially with a burst up the field, stuttered, and then tried to sell the stutter go, and then put the brakes on and came back. There's a lot of teams that are playing Brian Thomas Jr. or going to play Brian Thomas Jr. off because he's got incredible speed. So that was a perfect route for him. There was not a defensive back anywhere near him contesting the ball. If Mac Jones had not been on the run, it could have been a more accurate throw where Brian could have just stood up and caught the ball and
moved upfield,
made a move up the field. But because Mac was kind of on the go a little bit, he kind of threw it, and Brian also did a great job of getting the leg down,
the knee,
and securing the ball to be a catch in bounds. I mean, so there was so many good things on that route alone by Brian Thomas Jr. It was very impressive to me.
Would you call that a quadruple move, like the go and then stutter and then go and then stop and go? I mean, that's a lot of moves in one route, right? I mean, that doesn't happen.
Let me see. You go, stutter, so 2, 3. Yeah, it's a quadruple move. Yeah,
we're almost to 2 hands counting them up. There.
Yeah,
it's a lot.
4.
That's one hand.
That's one hand.
For
most people. But it was a really good move. But I think what was impressive is the way the defensive back was playing him off a bunch. And Brian's going to see a lot of that this year. I really believe that, because he's got great speed. I'm talking legitimate great speed. And here we're watching this play right here. I mean, we get to see it firsthand. There's Mac getting chased out of the pocket, so the ball's not as accurate. But see how far 34 the defensive back is? There he is, the stutter. There's the thing. He turns the hips, and then bam. I mean, that's a great route. Great route by Brian.
So let's see some more of that this week. And Gabe Davis should be out there. Let's see him continue.
You know what's great is Christian Kirk is going to love this offense this year. Love it. So is Evan Ingram. And why? So let's say this paper right here. Okay, this is my game board.
Thanks.
Okay, and we've got – You got
18
a pen,
by 11.
You got a pen over there?
I have a pencil. Yes.
You got a pen in your hand. Let me see the pencil for a second.
That's great, Logs. This is great for our radio audience.
So just imagine people, on radio, that you've got this 11 by 17 piece of paper and you've got 2 pens on it. Okay? This is the field. But when Brian Thomas goes vertical and Gabe Davis goes vertical, if you don't have the vertical aspect, the page is essentially folded in half, because you don't have anybody that can get to this second level of defense. But what Gabe and what Brian Thomas Jr. do, they now open this folded page, And now you have the same amount of defensive backs trying to cover a much bigger area because Gabe and Brian opened up the top half of this area. And so what that does for Evan and also Christian and Parker Washington, this whole area now underneath becomes a lot more open because Brian and Gabe are going to move people off to this new unfolded top half of the piece of paper. So that's why Al Davis, when he always talked about the Raiders offense, he wanted to have guys that could fly. I mean, he understood that that was important for an offense to be able to compete, to stretch the field. Well, you got two guys on this football team that are going to do that this year in a big way.
Give me my pencil back, will you?
Oh, sorry.
Thanks a lot. Jeez.
Sorry.
Back in a moment. Register your furry friend for the Jaguars official four-legged fan club for pets presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. Your pet will receive access to exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. Visit jaguars.com/promotions/four-legged fan club and sign up today. Defensive talk. Darnell Savage has been on the field this week for the first time, out of the red jersey at least. We're on 1010XL, 92.5 FM, and it's Jaguars Happy Hour.
Hey, Jags fans, stop dreaming of creating your game day fan cave and build the Jaguars den of your dreams with ZipChair. When it comes to maximum comfort, ZipChair.com is the only place for officially licensed Jaguars recliners, sofas, bar stools, office and gaming chairs, all featuring high-quality embroidered Jags logos. Crack open a few cold ones in the comfort of a ZipChair and make your home the place to be on game day. Head over to ZipChair.com and save 20% today. Use code JagsRadio at checkout. ZipChair.com, furniture for fans.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, Advantage You. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
UNF is a top public university committed to serving the region, a place where visionary minds come together to create effective solutions. With more than 70% of their graduates working in the area, UNF is North Florida's university, offering 100-plus majors, affordable tuition, and programs in high-demand fields. Soar into your future at UNF. Visit unf.edu to learn more.
Ready, set, go. It's the Labor Day sales event going on now at your local Ford dealer. Come check out the best deals of the summer on Ford trucks and SUVs. Get ready for low financing and big cash back on a huge selection of built Ford tough trucks and adventure-ready Ford SUVs. You've been waiting for our best deals, and your wait is over. Ready, set, go. Hurry into the Labor Day sales event at your local Ford dealer now through September 3rd.
It's game time, Jaguars fans, and Publix knows that football is all about pairings. A high-scoring offense paired with a stingy defense. A rocket-armed QB paired with a dynamic wide receiver. And at Publix, you can pair hot deli chicken tenders with savory dips, delicious sub-platters with ice-cold beverages, and you can pair these tailgate essentials with an entire parking lot full of Jaguars fans chanting, Duval! Gear up for your tailgate at Publix, the official supermarket of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Facing cancer takes a lot of determination, strength, and support. And you'll get it all at Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center. Determination from world-renowned doctors, giving you specialized treatment with cutting-edge technology and research. Strength and support from a dedicated team, caring for you completely, during and after treatment. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Appointments available at baptistmdanderson.com.
Jaguars Happy Hour continues from the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center on 1010XL 92.5 FM, Jaguars.com, Jaguars YouTube. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. It's preseason week 3. The Jaguars and the Atlanta Falcons coming up. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, 7 o'clock, the kickoff time tomorrow night. Starters will be out there for about a half, including the defense. And our first look at a game this preseason at a free agent addition in the offseason for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Darnell Savage will be out there, 5'11", just under 200 pounds, sixth-year player out of Maryland. What do you expect to see from Savage?
Well, first of all, if you watch him in practice, because he's been practicing and he's been wearing a red kind of mesh jersey over the top of his own jersey, which essentially signifies that don't hit him, and he hasn't been hitting anybody yet. I know what to expect, kind of, because you watch him on the field, and he's definitely, and it's not like he's been out there like a piece of fine china. You know, he's been getting bumped around a little bit in practice.
Right.
I expect him to play well. He, veteran player that's been there, done that, can play nickel, can play safety. I think probably could play corner, a dime. Probably has as much positional flexibility as anybody in the back end to go along with Antonio Johnson. I think that those two guys, it's going to be interesting to watch to see what they can do with both of them. I think they got a lot of flexibility with those guys.
And that's the key, right? Flexibility. They could change that by week, in theory, if they wanted to. With
Totally
a matchup.
could. And talk about confusing a quarterback. Yeah. You know, when you have a couple guys that you're not sure, okay, are they the safety? Are they the nickel? Are they the dime? It's hard to determine exactly what a defense is trying to accomplish. Now, if you have a unit where everybody's always playing the same position, it's a lot easier for a quarterback to kind of identify coverage and who's who. So I like that idea, but I expect Savage to play well. I don't expect him to play a half with the entire starting group. Since this is his first game action, I think they would ease him into that a little bit and maybe play him a quarter, depending on the number of snaps. I'm sure they've got a pitch count kind of in mind for him. But he's coming back, I think, from a shoulder. So how will the shoulder hold up? You want to see him be physical and then show no ill effects whatsoever of having contact. So looking forward to him playing. I think he's a really good addition for this defense, just because he's proven in the past that he can play and play well.
Jaguars defensive line, we'll get a good look at that group and the depth of that group as well. They like to roll guys in there, so let's see that tomorrow night. And, it's always fun to see Josh Hines-Allen and Trayvon Walker out there with full go. And it was the same thing for them. They didn't get a lot of snaps in the first preseason game.
The one thing about that group, when they get off the bus now,
right?
Seriously.
Yeah, they looked the part. There's no doubt about that.
Let's go
across the defensive line, really.
Let's go across the defensive line here. Okay, before we focus in on Trayvon and Josh. Devon Hamilton, talked to him before the game this past week, which obviously didn't play at all. And he's about 320.
He's listed at 335.
330, somewhere in that range, right? He's a big man.
Yeah.
And I mean wide.
Yes.
Wide.
Mm-hmm.
So let's say that we're in we put Eric Armstead in at defensive tackle. 6'6", 290?
6'7", 290.
Okay. Josh is weighing in at 285.
That's right.
Let me repeat myself, 285.
That's about what Trayvon's doing.
Trayvon, 285. 285, 285, 325, 290. Or if you got Roy's bigger than he's been in the past. And I don't believe what they list Roy at.
290 is what they list.
He's 300. I'll bet you he's 300. I mean, you talk about a big group. Big group. The thing that I think is going to be interesting to watch tomorrow night in the game, number one, is to see Josh and Trayvon and this defensive front go against a backup offensive line. That should be pretty successful. But once you get into the regular season, is this added size going to take away from the stamina at all? And I'm not saying it is, because Josh thinks that he's in good a shape as he's ever been at 285.
It's interesting you say this, because in the Doug Pederson show coming up, I asked Trayvon Walker about this specific subject, and we'll get his answer on it coming up in a little bit.
And I think the easy short answer is that most guys, when they put the weight on, if they've done it the right way, which doing the eye test, it was the right way with these two guys.
Yeah, seems like.
They look pretty good. But when you add a little bit extra weight, sometimes there's an adjustment period because since you put the weight on, you haven't played 65 snaps in a game. But the good thing, with Ryan Nielsen's defense, I don't know if they're going to play 65 snaps.
Yeah, they're going to rotate so much, right?
Because they're going to rotate a bunch. So 285, maybe instead of 65 snaps, now you're down to 50.
Boy, I want those other snaps with my best guy on the field sometimes too.
Well,
you know, that's the balance.
You have to pick and choose when they're there. Mm-hmm. So on a 1st and 10, when the opponent's backed up on the 20, is it smart to go ahead, hey, let's get Josh out there. We really need him right now. I'd rather save that rep for a 3rd and 7, okay, 2 plays later. Mm-hmm. So I think if you're going to rotate them, you have to have somebody that's managing the rotation that's aware we need to get our best guys on the field at critical moments. And I think Ryan Nielsen, this is not his first rodeo. He will do a good job of managing that along with his defensive line coach, Jeremy Garrett, and also Bill Shuey, who also is an outside edge coach for the Jaguars defensive front.
Linebacker play. It's been a topic this preseason with Foye Lukin and Devin Lloyd. And
Foye's a little nicked up.
Yep, and then Chad Muma has been on the field a lot this week with Foye off to the side a little bit.
I want to see Devin play. You know, here's another guy that put weight on, went from 235 to 245. Now he's playing the Mike position. I want to see him. Stamina, same kind of thing that I was talking about with Josh and Trayvon. I want to see him play fast. You know, the one thing about Devin has been in the past is that sometimes he's thinking a little bit too much, and he either isn't where he's supposed to be or he's late getting there. And he works hard. I mean, the guy works, he studies, he's committed. Sometimes it just takes a little bit. And this being a new scheme, I don't want to see any kind of adjustment period for him, so to speak. I want him to play well tomorrow night so that he can hit the ground running come the first game down in Miami.
Well, he's going to be running in Miami the way they play.
Well, that's a challenge now. I mean,
yeah.
That's the one.
We'll save that for later, but yes, they will be running.
A little touch here, a little tease for this matchup. The Miami Dolphins arguably have the fastest running back room in the National Football League.
Yeah.
Okay? Let me repeat myself. Uh-huh. The Miami Dolphins might have the fastest running back room in the NFL.
On top of the fastest wide receiver room in the NFL.
But when it comes to Devin Lloyd, he ain't covering the cheetah. He's going to be covering those running backs that can run legit 4.4 and can keep up with cheetah. Mm. That's a challenge. And that's a matchup that I think as a coach, you've got to be careful of how you match up in certain situations because you don't want to have a mismatch.
We'll save that for a couple weeks' time.
Just
on this
a little
program.
teaser.
I love that. Looking for the MVP of the truck game? Better check out the 2024 Ford F-150. Loaded with impressive capability and game-changing tech, you can dominate work, play, and everything in between. Test drive an F-150 at your local Ford dealer, proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. On 1010XL and 92.5 FM, this is Jaguars Happy Hour.
Ready, set, go. It's the Labor Day sales event going on now at your local Ford dealer. Come check out the best deals of the summer on Ford trucks and SUVs. Get ready for low financing and big cash back on a huge selection of built Ford tough trucks and adventure-ready Ford SUVs. You've been waiting for our best deals, and your wait is over. Ready, set, go. Hurry into the Labor Day sales event at your local Ford dealer now through September 3rd.
Unlock your potential at the University of North Florida. A beautiful campus with an inspiring environment for learning, UNF is a key partner to Florida's booming industries, providing students with direct access to internships and jobs. Set a new course at UNF. and soar into your future. Visit unf.edu to learn more. Does propane power your home or business? Count on AmeriGas for expert propane delivery with a neighborly smile. At AmeriGas, the official propane partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars, their drivers deliver for Duval. Their local team will keep your home or business running smoothly throughout football season and beyond. Call 844-PRO-JAGS for a free propane quote today. Grilling this tailgate season? Visit AmeriGas.com to find your closest cylinder exchange location and keep it teal with a custom Jaguars wrapped grill tank.
Frank Frangie here. When you want barbecue in Jacksonville, you want Bono's Pit Barbecue. You can find Bono's locations all around town and on game day at Everbank Stadium because Bono's is the official barbecue of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Over 70 years of authentic Southern Pit Barbecue. We are the local barbecue joint in BBQval for generations of people in Jacksonville. Go to bonosbarbecue.com to learn more or call 904-880-8310 today. And remember, if you don't see a pit, it ain't legit.
Jaguars fans, huddle up for the best defense against expensive car repairs, CarShield. Score big with the nation's #1 automotive protection company, CarShield. They offer affordable plans covering repairs on up to 5,000 parts and systems in your car, truck, or SUV. Don't miss any Jaguars action this season with a car breakdown. Call 800-471-1223. Coverage varies by plans. View contracts and exclusions at carshield.com.
Are you ready to love how you feel, look, and live in every season? At Elace, we offer more than just luxury med spa treatments. We provide a serene, judgment-free space where you can reconnect with the best version of you. Whether you want to refresh your natural look with Botox or Dysport, pamper yourself with a relaxing hydrofacial, or rejuvenate your complexion with laser resurfacing, our expert team in Jacksonville is here to tailor treatments to your needs. Visit Elace.com today and start your journey to loving yourself.
Welcome back. Final moments of Jaguars Happy Hour from Hyundai Studios, Miller Electric Center. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Coming up in about 12 and a half, 13 minutes, the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. We'll have some of the best of the head coach from earlier this week going into preseason week 3. Jaguars Falcons, Friday night, 7 o'clock is the kickoff time in Atlanta, Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And time now for the injury report presented by Baptist Health, changing healthcare for good. There were a handful of players that missed practice earlier this week. Of course, C.J. Beathard with a groin issue. Wide receiver Christian Kirk with a calf injury. Safety Daniel Thomas with a heel injury has not been on the practice field this week. Cornerback Christian Braswell did not work in teamwork earlier this week on Tuesday at least. Running back Keelan Robinson with a toe issue, hasn't practiced yet. Linebacker Foye Oluokun did some individual stuff earlier in the week on Tuesday, but not any teamwork with a hamstring issue. Safety Andrew Wingard with a knee injury, could be a lengthy return for him. And, of course, Patrick Murtaugh still on the roster with that ankle injury. Eric Armstead practicing limited earlier this week, coming back, and he's on the roster now, off physically unable to perform.
That I think is going to be really interesting to see how they manage him at the early part of the season.
Armstead.
Yes, Armstead.
Yeah.
Eric Armstead.
Yeah.
Because he's off of PUP. He's allowed to practice, but he's not full go in a practice. He's not going to be playing in this game tomorrow night, the last preseason game. So you signed a guy in free agency at a pretty significant amount of money. In year 10, coming off of 2 injuries that hampered him last year, can he get healthy? Can he stay healthy? Can he be productive? Those are a lot of unknowns. But the one thing that you do know is that if he's able and healthy, he's a good football player. And you don't worry about him getting up to speed too much because he's been playing for quite some time. But it's still kind of venturing into the unknown.
I'd rather see him out there than not right now. That would make you feel a little better, right?
Yeah, it would make me feel better. I mean, I
saw him earlier this week in the individual stuff on, I think it was Tuesday, doing some individual work with the defensive line group. But then he went off to the side. And I didn't see him do that on Wednesday.
Right.
So one day on, one day off. It's just taking time, and they're running out of time for the regular season, by the way.
You know, and I think the approach with Eric is that it's the long-term view. So it's not about getting Eric Armstead ready for the first game. It is in some respects, but the long-term view says let's get him for a limited number of snaps maybe in the first game, if at all, and then let's slowly work him up to where when we need him the most, which is towards the end of the season and then going into the playoffs, he's at his best. So I think that's the entire goal. It's not, again, to have him playing 40, 50 snaps in week 1. It's to have him playing 40, 50 snaps in week 17 and into the playoffs. So there's a buildup that has to happen to get there.
But we're an instant gratification culture.
Well, I mean, look,
we want it now, Logs.
Yeah, I mean, I'm there too sometimes as well. And you know, if you look at it, and if you look at teams in the National Football League, the ones that have the great success are the ones that build constantly in the season. They continue to get better to where they hit their stride as they're entering the playoffs. I mean, you go to this team 2 years ago, not so great early, right? And then got hot and then hit a little bit of a run in the playoffs before ending up falling short against arguably the best team in football, which can happen. So I think there's got to be a little bit of that mindset when you're dealing with a player like Eric Armstead, and then also with your football team as a whole. You know, remember, it's not about week 1. It's about the entirety of the season, and then playing your best when you get towards the end of the season so that you can get into the playoffs, number one, but then get into the playoffs playing well.
A couple other names that we mentioned on there are safeties. Andrew Wingard, we've known about for a little while now with a knee issue.
I think he's going to be one that you get 2 spots this year to where you can put a player on injured reserve without him having to go through the waiver process. You can put him on there and then he goes on and then you can bring him back at some point in the season. There's 2 spots that are reserved for each team for that. I think he is one of those 2.
Okay, because it's apparently a little longer term, but not long term enough to be season ending.
Correct.
So there you go, and they'd love to have him back. But there's another safety on that list now. Daniel Thomas with a heel issue came up just the other day. So I'm not sure the severity of that. Don't want to speculate too much, but those are 2 of your deeper safeties, guys that are support on defense and special teams, aces and stuff that aren't around at least for this week.
Yeah, and Cisco has had a marvelous camp, been there the whole time.
Good, man.
Antonio Johnson, I think, has had a good camp, has been there the whole time. Eric Hallett is a guy that last year they felt good about him that can play some snaps. Adrian Amos was laying some wood on some guys in the last preseason game. I mean, 30. I don't know about you, man, but 34 was coming. I'm talking downhill making contact. Tashawn Gibson, will he play?
Great question.
I don't know if he will tomorrow night or not, but that's
the same thing. They're
interesting question.
Ramping him up off to the side as well, So
I'd be surprised if he did, but then again, I wouldn't be if he did play.
Same idea, right? They need him, whenever he comes off suspension, in theory, to be ready.
I don't know if you have to have him.
If they need him by
I
then,
think he's an insurance policy.
Yeah.
Because here's how this works, and a lot of people don't quite fully understand this. So when they start to make the roster decisions, he goes on the suspended list for 6 weeks, the commissioner's suspension list. So he doesn't count towards your 53. You don't have to do anything. He goes on that list. He's gone. After his suspension ends, then you start paying him. And then you get a grace period to determine, are you going to activate him or are you not? He's on your roster. You have to pay him for week 7. The league will probably give the team a week, maybe 2, to determine, are they going to activate him or are they just going to release him?
But in that grace period, he's not part of the 53.
He's not part of the 53. The grace period is exactly what it means. You have the grace where he doesn't count against your 53, but you're paying him. Okay, you're paying him. And then after a week, if the league says it's only a week, if it's 2 weeks, then after 2 weeks, you have to make a decision. You either put him on your 53, take somebody off of it, or you can release him at that point. So what happens at that point? I don't know. What happens between now and what happens to then? Are all your other safeties healthy? Is Wingard back?
Good question.
So I think where you're at that position as a whole will determine what you do with Tashawn Gibson once you get to week 7 or week 8.
Yeah, and remember, week 7 is the second London game. So week 8, the Jags will be back in the States against the Packers.
I think it's
so there might be some of the travel idea.
This is a low-risk, low-cost insurance policy for the safety position with a really good football player that could be utilized.
Coming up in just a few moments, the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network. We'll have the best of Coach Pederson's press conference from earlier this week. And, yes, third-year defensive end, Trayvon Walker, and his thoughts on playing with a little more weight. He said he's played bigger before, but it's still a little bit of a change. We'll hear from him coming up as well. But this is a head coach, obviously, who's been through it before. He understands what he wants to see out of his starting unit. He wants to get work in, knowing there's 16 days between the game and the regular season. And, I think he wants just a good, clean operation all around for a half and then get him out of there.
Well, and as a coach, you're talking specifically about Doug, but, you also kind of have to factor in Trent Baalke and his staff, because you're going to have a pretty significant amount of meetings to determine who's going to make this football team and who's not going to make this football team. And there's going to be a consensus that's going to have to be had to determine what your 53 are going to be, what your practice squad is going to look like, what you're going to do with certain transactions to get there. And this game tomorrow night is going to go, I don't want to say a long way towards making those determinations, but it's going to play a part. If you listen to Trent Baalke and you listen to Doug all through training camp, they say that everything is looked at, everything is graded, everything is evaluated, from practice to how you conduct yourself in the building to how you operate in the meetings to how your game performance is. All of that factors in. Oh, and by the way, how much money you make factors in as well too, because this is
professional football.
It's professional football. You have to manage the cap.
Yeah.
So there's some decisions. Unfortunately, this team is not anywhere near the edge of the cap. They're fine. So they're not going to have to make I don't think they're going to have to make any decisions that are based purely on the cap.
If you're graded on everything that goes on in the building here, you would have the highest grade possible. You do everything in this building. And you do it at a high level, Logs.
Who does?
You.
I do what at a high level?
Everything.
Oh, okay.
We're grading you.
Great.
I mean, if
Thank
you get graded for all that stuff.
Do I get paid for all that compliment I just got?
I don't know about that. That's another department. You got to go down the hall and talk to them.
I'll take extra pay for that.
I'm sure you would. So
lock me up, JP, for the long-term deal. Just like Tyson and Trevor and Josh.
Just
lock me up long-term.
Just sign it now.
Just give me the
tell
big,
me where to sign.
Give me the big money.
I love that. So preseason week 3 coming up tomorrow night. The Jaguars and the Falcons, 7:06 the official kickoff time. We'll start with the Publix Tailgate Show at 4 o'clock on 1010XL and 92.5 FM. And then at 6 o'clock, countdown to kickoff in the entire Jaguars radio network. We'll get you set for the Jags and the Falcons preseason finale. And should be a fine night of football. A lot going on in the next few days around the game, after the game. Roster cuts due by Tuesday at 4 o'clock. So a lot of business going on in the building here in the next 72 hours.
Yeah, a lot of business that'll be happening, I think, too, with the league. Like I was saying about the trades and everything that could be happening, with I think teams are a little bit more likely to execute a trade because you have 16 or 15 or 14 days, if you're doing something this weekend, to get that player ready for your new team or for that new team.
That's Jeff Lageman. I'm JP Shadrick. Our thanks to Joe Fortunato, Brent Reber. Coming up, Jaguars Radio Network coverage, the Doug Pederson Show. Thanks for listening to Jaguars Happy Hour.
Welcome to the Doug Pederson Show.
Brought to you by Fresh from Florida.
JP Shadrick and former Jaguar Jeff Lageman discuss the latest Jaguars news with the head coach. The Doug Pederson Show starts right now.
Welcome in the Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida. We're at the Hyundai Studios of the Miller Electric Center, downtown Jacksonville. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman, and we're on the Jaguars Radio Network, presented by the University of Florida. Jaguars Falcons coming up, Logs, in preseason week 3 tomorrow night. Mercedes-Benz Stadium, Atlanta.
About 25 hours. Is that right?
Yeah.
Did I do my math right?
A few more than that.
25 hours and 6 minutes.
26 hours. 25 hours and 58 minutes. We're 2 hours. It's 7 o'clock kick. This is a 5 o'clock show.
Okay.
2 hours.
That's right.
Yeah. I was told there would be no math
26 hours, 8 minutes, now probably 7.
No, that's not how it works.
No.
It's an hour and like 58 and 30 seconds or something.
It's tomorrow.
Yeah, it's tomorrow night. Either way, the Jaguars starters will get time in this game, and that's Doug Pederson's philosophy. And let's hear from the Jags head coach on his show, of course, earlier in the week, discussing his philosophy and the starters going in week 3.
Third and final preseason game, we usually let the starters play a little bit more. And again, it depends on the circumstance and the way the game goes, but you'd love to get maybe 2 quarters, out of them. But we do take a look at Atlanta a little bit, and we simulate a game week schedule-wise now that camp is broke, and that's probably the only reason, these weeks are important to get the guys, no longer in the hotel, they're living at home, transportation here, all that kind of stuff. It simulates and sort of feels like a game week.
Yep, so they'll treat it like a game week. They have all week long, and it will be a game for at least the first half for the starters in this one. Well, what do you make of all that? Like, just say, let's get the routine down.
I really look at the exact wording, much like when Doug talked about the injury to C.J. Beathard. He used the term re-injured. When he was talking about playing his starters there, he said maybe 2 quarters was the term he used. Mm-hmm. So if things are going really well midway through the second quarter, then get them out. Again, you're playing against backups for the Atlanta Falcons. Now, I'm sure there will be some starters for the Falcons that are playing in that ball game. But their mindset is completely different. Sean McVay has this philosophy, and that's where Raheem Morris just spent a lot of time with out there in L.A. with the Rams. Raheem Morris, the new coach of the Atlanta Falcons, bringing that mindset to Atlanta. And he has said that he's not going to play a lot of starters or very few starters in this last preseason game. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how many will play. If the Jaguars are expecting to play the majority of theirs, but I wouldn't be overly excited or anxious to play my starters 2 full quarters if I know that they're playing against a lot of backups into that second quarter.
The Jaguars officially broke training camp after last week's preseason game, so guys are back at home now. That's what he was talking about, the routine of getting up, coming in. You got all of a sudden you got small kids at home that wake you up in the middle of the night. Now, all this stuff can happen.
Well, the whole goal is to try not to have kids so you don't get woken up while you're playing. At least it was for me. But I will tell you this: the training camp thing is kind of cool. I mean, a lot of guys look at it. I mean, people say, "Oh, it's got to be a grind. You're not staying at home." Look, I mean, you're not roughing it. You're staying in a very nice hotel.
You're not primitive camping.
You've got a very comfortable situation. You've got a snack every night. Yeah. You get a bed that gets made up every day, clean sheets put on very often. What's wrong with that?
I want to go to training camp next year. That sounds pretty good.
What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
And most importantly, you get uninterrupted sleep. And undivided attention towards the task at hand, which is football and getting ready. When you get home, you have different distractions. It takes you longer to get into the facility. You got to worry about traffic. When you're in camp, you really don't. It's a short little drive. So it's different, but I think the best part about breaking camp is in training camp, you're essentially going now, and I'm talking about in the modern NFL, you're starting at around 6:30, 7 o'clock in the morning, and then you're out of the building at 6 o'clock or so in the afternoon, 5 o'clock in the afternoon. That's not bad. But then all of a sudden, once you get out of the training camp mode, because you have meetings as well, is that you're out of the building a little bit sooner. Although some guys stay in a little bit longer to do the extra prep work, extra film study, and all of that. So yeah. So I mean, it's very different. And the best part is that you're practicing against the opponent. You're not practicing against just whatever your offense runs. You're focusing on a game plan. You're focusing on opponents. I'm studying the left tackle of the Atlanta Falcons. I'm studying the right tackle of the Atlanta Falcons. I'm studying the cadence and the snap count and what the quarterback does before he gets the snap, before the ball actually moves.
Hey, here's some scout team cards. They're going to run some tendencies they like to do in a certain situation.
You anticipate a lot more as opposed to just reacting. And you're studying individuals and studying a system. And that's part of it is fun, because the other part of it, we're just getting ready to play a game. It's, to me, the whole part of playing well is to gain all the competitive advantage pieces of tidbits that you can get. And that's where it really starts is now that you've broken camp. And I'm not saying that they put together an entire game plan for tomorrow night against the Falcons. They haven't. But they've looked at the Atlanta Falcons and to some extent, but they're not having this intricate game plan for this last preseason game like they might for a regular season game.
So they'll get work in. And then second half, it's about the last possible reps for a lot of guys trying to make not only this roster, but any of the other 31 rosters in the National Football League. It's the last opportunity for those guys to get something on tape. And it sounds cliche, but it's true. And
very true.
The reps don't come that often. So no matter what they are and whatever preseason game they are, if something flashes, then that can be a positive for somebody in their career.
Now, I'll give you a list of names that this game is really important for.
Yeah.
Okay. Tavon Campbell, defensive backs, right? We'll start with defensive backs. Tavon Campbell, Trey Flowers, Oruwariye, Eric Hallett, Christian Braswell. Linebackers, Tanner Muse, Caleb Johnson, Josh Proctor, who's kind of that safety / linebacker, Andrew Parker Jr. from Appalachian State, Ventrell Miller, Yasir Abdullah. I mean, a couple other guys. I think that Ventrell Miller is going to make it. Defensive linemen, I think these guys have to have a big game. DJ Coleman, Raymond Johnson, Breland Speaks, Miles Cole, Joe Gaziano at the edge outside defensive end position. Defensive tackles, that's going to be a really tough position to cut.
Got 2 draft picks in there.
And those guys are make it.
Yeah.
Okay, draft picks are going to make it. So that leaves Otomewo, Tyler Lacey, Jeremiah Ledbetter. Those guys have to play well. On offense. Let's flip it over to the other side of the field.
Not just one side.
Denzel Mims. Austin Trammell. By the way, had a really nice game.
Trammell did, yes.
Last week against the Bucs.
Yes, wide receiver.
He's got some film out there that's going to impress somebody. Elijah Cooks has got to do something. He's been kind of quiet. Did not have a good game against the Bucs.
A drop last week, didn't he? Yes.
Seth Williams, Joshua Cephas. Those guys got to show something. The tight ends, Sean Bowman, Chris Myrick, Joshua DeGuara, and he's had 2 pretty good games so far, DeGuara. Patrick Murtaugh is obviously the international player that's
he's got the ankle.
Gotten hurt.
Yep.
Offensive lineman, Stephen Jones hasn't shown much. He's got to show something.
Hasn't been out there a lot. He's been hurt.
Had the ankle or whatever. Keaton Sutherland hasn't shown much. Darrell Williams at center hasn't shown much. Shatley has not shown much.
No?
No. But you know what he is. Blake Hance.
Yeah, how much does Shatley really have to show?
Blake Hance has got to show something. Cole Van Lannon. Let's talk about him for a minute.
Highest rated offensive player in the NFL by PFF in this preseason.
I don't know if he was the highest rated player, was he? I know that he was
2 weeks of the preseason.
He was
one.
the offensive player of the week from PFF.
He is. They told me, PFF told me this. That He is the number 1 ranked offensive player in the NFL through 2 weeks of the preseason.
You know, he's been impressive just because when they first got him, because he was a trade acquisition from Green Bay, he did not impress me because he was at guard. They did him a favor and moved him to tackle because when he played guard, he got beat up. They moved him to tackle, and all he has done is get better and better and better. I mean, impressive.
Yeah.
Very impressive. And there's the
0 pressures on 63 pass blocking snaps.
Played exceptionally well.
Pretty good.
Let's go to last year for a second. Who is the highest graded receiver by PFF coming out of the preseason last year?
Your guy Elijah, right?
Elijah Cooks.
Yeah.
And what happened to him? He made it. So could the same thing happen for Cole Van Lanen? Because when camp started, you kind of would have thought he would have been on the outside looking in.
He might have played his way right on the roster.
He might have. He might have.
Could be a very,
could be a very, and if he makes it, I mean, this all of a sudden you're looking at an offensive line that's going to carry 10 guys maybe for a group that is the biggest question mark on the offensive side of the ball. That's the biggest question mark as a group. Do you think that that's wise? I do.
Yeah.
Because if you're not
options.
sure, you got to have some options. I like Cole Van Lanen at right tackle. The question that I have, can he play left and can he be a swing guy?
In about 20 minutes, we'll hear from Jags defensive end Trayvon Walker heading into the final preseason tune-up. Up next, Trevor Lawrence gets to start at quarterback this week, and there's a new quarterback in the room. This is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
The Jaguars bring performance, strength, and passion to every play. And you'll find the same when you bank with EverBank. Open an EverBank Performance Savings account and score serious savings. See what you could earn at everbank.com/Jaguars. EverBank, advantage you. Member FDIC and the official bank of the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ready, set, go. It's the Labor Day sales event going on now at your local Ford dealer. Come check out the best deals of the summer on Ford trucks and SUVs. Get ready for low financing and big cash back on a huge selection of built Ford tough trucks and adventure-ready Ford SUVs. You've been waiting for our best deals, and your wait is over. Ready, set, go. Hurry into the Labor Day sales event at your local Ford dealer now through September 3rd.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
The Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. We're at the Hyundai Studios at the Miller Electric Center as the Jaguars prepare for preseason week 3. The Jags and the Falcons tomorrow, 7 o'clock. Kickoff time at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. And Trevor Lawrence will be the starting quarterback for the Jaguars tomorrow night. Couple quarters for the starters. Of course, Mac Jones on the roster solidified that number 2 spot last week. And with C.J. Beathard with a groin issue.
I think the writing's on the wall.
For?
The quarterback position.
What do you mean?
I mean, we felt that Mac was the backup, had earned the backup role.
Yeah.
I think the injury to C.J. slams the door on that.
I don't know if it was ever that open anyway. I mean,
well,
it was
things are always open.
Right.
Always
but just
open.
From the couple weeks of seeing the practices and seeing how the ball was thrown by both guys.
Correct.
And then seeing the performances. And, by the way, they traded a draft pick for a number 1 pick or first-round pick quarterback who's not going to clear waivers. Mac Jones wasn't going anywhere.
No, but if he came in here and just stunk up the joint,
then
which he hasn't, then
right.
then he.
So that's why my point is like, okay, they can say it's competition all they want, but like, unless he just threw 10 million interceptions.
At the end of the day, it's always a competition. You know,
Coach Lageman over here.
I'm just telling you that, here's a perfect example. Let's go back a couple years in Jaguars history to the running back position when we had Leonard Fournette. Then we had this undrafted running back that nobody knew.
James Robinson.
Did anybody think for a minute that there was competition there?
Right.
No.
Right.
No. But again, at the end of the day, there's always competition. And then all of a sudden, Fournette is shown the door. James Robinson is the starting running back here and did a really good job. Really good job. So even though they traded for Mac Jones, CJ was here, it was still a competition. And the reason I say that is because Mac Jones did a really good job. Really good job.
Yeah, and to his credit, to your point, he took it as such, as a competition.
Absolutely.
I got to go show this. I can't just rest on my laurels.
He's a competitor.
Yeah, that's right.
And he did exactly what he needed to do. I think CJ did a very good job, too. He played well in the preseason, but just not to that level. Mac Jones is going to allow them to run the offense if something happens to Trevor without changing it. But I will say this for all those people that are out there that might think that Mac Jones could replace Trevor.
Oh, stop it. Come on. Give me a break with that.
Trevor Lawrence is a much superior athlete than Mac Jones. Trevor Lawrence is a better quarterback than Mac Jones. I mean, there's people that always kind of have that. It's and here's the thing. Appreciate Trevor Lawrence because he's a really good football player, really good quarterback. And at that same time, we can appreciate Mac Jones too. Hometown guy, really good backup. Really good backup. He'll be a starter in this league again.
At some point.
He will be a starter in this league again in 2025. But it won't be here.
Nope.
It will be somewhere else. And good for him. Good for him to kind of take a year, focus on his game and his craft, take a deep breath, and regroup after some really challenging years in New England. And he had to follow the GOAT, which is never easy to do. Never easy to do. And then I think he had a lot of things that were not exactly to his aid that happened along the way with the coaching side of things on the offensive side of the football.
Well, if any staff can get a quarterback back to their center,
it's this one.
It's this one with
Yes.
Doug Pederson and Mike McCoy and Press Taylor and Trevor Lawrence and everybody that's around the quarterback position. If you're coming in a little off, they can
center
back.
you up.
That's right.
That's a great point you bring up. It's a strong staff, and it's a really, when I say this, and I mean this, this is a really quarterback-friendly staff. Doug played the position. Mike played the position. Press has been coaching offense and coaching that position for a long time. Andrew Briner, assistant quarterbacks coach, good football coach. This is a really strong, stable, offensive football minds on that side of the ball.
E.J. Perry signed with the Jaguars after the Beathard injury, and you might see him with a little bit of time. Third-year player out of Brown, was on the practice squad here the last couple of years, had a brief stint with the Texans practice squad, was in the USFL, which later turned into the UFL. off and on, and now he's back. So he's been around here a couple years, so he understands the terminology, and I bet you'll see some time tomorrow night.
Sure, and it keeps his name out there. Is he gonna be fortunate to be able to have a job or a practice squad position for this football team in the future? Probably not. But if something happens somewhere along the line this year, if you come in this situation and show that, hey, look, I can get ready in a pinch, then your phone number will be on speed dial for that position. And that's a good thing.
We're back in a moment. Offensive line starting five will be on the field together for the first time in a game in this preseason tomorrow night. That's coming up next on the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Eat like a Jag, the Fresh from Florida way. Hi everyone, I'm Chef Justin. Head over to freshfromflorida.com and sign up for our loyalty club to unlock interactive perks available only to club members. It's all the great stuff you've loved about freshfromflorida.com and more. For club members, it's an interactive experience that will help you get the most out of your Fresh from Florida recipes. Enjoy all the benefits of being a member. Join the Fresh from Florida Club today.
Ready to fuel up for summer fun? Join the MyGate Rewards loyalty program and pump up the savings. This summer, become a new loyalty member and save 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. Already a member? Now you can earn rewards 10 times faster. For every $10 spent in store, save 5 cents per gallon at the pump. Stop by Gate today to crank up your summer savings. Offer ends August 31st, 2024.
For us, treating cancer is personal. We're Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center, and we know that every patient is unique. So you'll have a plan created by world-renowned doctors and tailored to your needs. And everyone here will support you every step of the way, so you're physically, emotionally, and spiritually strong for the journey. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Locations in downtown, Baptist South, and Clay. Visit BaptistMDAnderson.com.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Number one goal is to obviously keep your quarterback clean. Second thing is be able to run the football a little bit with some success, and even though you're not going into these games game planning, you still want to have that success, and just your training camp rules kind of take over in protection game, run game, things like that. But play physical. Control the line of scrimmage as best you can, no matter who lines up on the other side. I can't control Atlanta, but just see the continuity, the unity with those 5 or 6 guys that'll be out there.
Head coach Doug Pederson discussing the offensive line and what to expect tomorrow night in Atlanta. This is the Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. Jags fans want customized Jags furniture for your home? Check out zipchair.com. and browse all customizable options. Zip Chair, furniture for fans. We're on the Jaguars Radio Network, presented by the University of Florida, #1 university in the U.S. News and World Report's #1 state for education. There you have it. That's what he wants to see, Logs, from the offensive line tomorrow night. The starters up front on the field for the first time this preseason together.
I was really encouraged in the last preseason game because there were 2 starters that played in that game, Ezra Cleveland and Anton Harrison.
Left guard and right tackle.
I was concerned about Ezra Cleveland. In the joint practices, he was limping around a little bit.
He had a heel, is that right?
I don't know, but
I think
whatever he had for the practices was gone for the game because he was strong and played very well. Anton Harrison played well. Anton Harrison is noticeably stronger than what he was last year as far as finishing. You know, last year he had that shoulder thing, remember, that bothered him throughout the entire preseason, was wearing a shoulder harness, ended up having surgery at the end of last season. When you're an offensive lineman, I mean, all of your power with moving guys, it starts right here in the shoulders, you know, the hands, shoulders, and then the lower body. It's got all of it has to be working together. And if the shoulders aren't there, it's hard to control 330-pound men. And Anton looks dramatically better. He looks bigger, too. Looks bigger physically. I'm excited about his year this year. I'm really excited about his year this year. I'm also excited this week about watching the starting offensive line, but also I want to see Cooper Hodges again. Thought he played well again last week. Had a couple plays that weren't great.
Yeah, C.J. Beathard got popped right in the numbers
one
time, but that was one play.
Yeah, you could tell that he was literally, after he allowed that hit where C.J. got buried, you could see when Cooper went and laid on the ground. I almost get the impression he was going, "I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, C.J."
Not bad, man.
But see him right there, he kind of jumped on C.J.
Thought it was
a little
a fumble,
bit.
but yeah.
But he's probably telling him, "Hey, man, I'm really sorry there." But he got beat to the inside, got his hands knocked down, and probably had a little fatigue setting in late in the ball game, after playing quite a few snaps. He had another play where he gave up a leaky pressure. But, I mean, and you can't do this, but if you take those two plays that I'm talking about out, played well. And so I like what I'm seeing out of him. And the left side with Ezra playing well at the beginning part of that game. I want to see Mitch Morse play well this week. I thought that the first game was just kind of okay. I want to see him play better this week. I want to have a good feeling going into the opener in Miami about the offensive line. Because everybody wants to talk about the offensive line. Well, there's a concern there, and I'm one of those guys.
Big focus right now.
It's a big focus because last year there was a void of physicality. Is that a real term?
I think you just created it. Okay. You might have just stumbled onto something.
So that's something that they need to correct.
Void of physicality last year.
Yeah, you like that?
Need to fill that void.
They need to fill the void.
We're back in a moment. Trayvon Walker fills voids and gets into the backfield. We'll hear from the Jaguars defensive end about his changes going into his third NFL season. That's next on the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
Ready, set, go. It's the Labor Day sales event going on now at your local Ford dealer. Come check out the best deals of the summer on Ford trucks and SUVs. Get ready for low financing and big cash back on a huge selection of built Ford tough trucks and adventure-ready Ford SUVs. You've been waiting for our best deals, and your wait is over. Ready, set, go. Hurry into the Labor Day sales event at your local Ford dealer now through September 3rd.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Nice! Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Jaguars tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
He's a good run player. Trayvon's a good pass rusher. He can rush with speed, finesse. He's a good power rusher. In the run game, he can play head up a guy or he can play on the edge. So there's a lot of things that he does really well. So just the continuation of, just taking his game to the next step, playing a little faster, playing a little bit more violent, as we go with the system, his place and how he just sees where he fits in terms of, and this is how I set the edge or I rush or those type of things. Just faster, more violent, things like that. But it's coming like he had a really good practice yesterday. So look for that to continue on Friday.
Brian Nielsen, Jaguars defensive coordinator, discussing Trayvon Walker, his defensive end. And this is the Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida, JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman, and I caught up with Trayvon Walker earlier this week. Third-year defensive end. Hard to believe it's already the third year for him in the NFL, but he's excited about a lot of things, his new role on this defense, but also seeing this defense on the field together for a half Friday night and much more.
I definitely think that'll help us obviously continuously build our chemistry from what we did during camp, and just obviously seeing everybody go out there and put the pieces together as a whole, as a first team defense, and some of the twos and threes mixed in there as well.
You talked earlier in camp about the idea of a different role for you in this defense, hand in the ground type of thing. Is it coming back natural to you after the time at Georgia?
I definitely say once I first put my hand back in the dirt, it all became back natural. It's just obviously ironing out some of the wrinkles on just some small details, hand placement, things like that, getting my feet in the ground, driving on blocks, and just things of that sort. But like I say, it's all it never really left, and I'm just happy. I'm ready to get back playing the ball.
It seems like there's a lot of size around you. There was always big, but it feels like they got bigger this offseason, this defensive line as a whole, even with new personnel, rookies coming in. How can that help up front when you got big bodies doing it big?
Man, that really can help. Obviously, number one, stop the run. Once we stop the run, then obviously we can get to go have fun and rush the passer. So obviously with a lot of the big guys, like I said, we just got to stop the run first and then go from there with the pass rush.
The run stopping thing, you can say it, then you got to go execute it too, but it's a mentality throughout the whole organization, right?
Most definitely. Stopping the run is more mental than physical. It's all about just a little small details, because we're all one big link, and it only takes one weak link to cause a leak or whatever it is, and that's where we got to all come together and make sure we're doing our individual job to make sure that we're doing the right thing to help all the guys flow on the back end.
Trayvon Walker with us. Give us an idea of how much different your body is going into this training camp, and how have you been able to learn how to play and run with maybe some added weight?
I say my body, me personally, I don't really feel too much of a difference, but obviously I have put on some weight. I can say I feel a lot more explosive, so my lower body, I definitely feel the strength in my lower body and obviously my upper body as well. But like I said a while back, I have been bigger than this before, and now it was just a matter of me getting back comfortable with that weight playing on me, and obviously getting into that condition shape to be able to consistently hold that weight and maintain playing in the game with it.
Josh Hines-Allen is another one who's gotten bigger this offseason. I know you guys did a lot of work together, so having that duo, that continuity together, you two, whether it be on both ends or somebody moving inside, that can only help when you two guys are working together in the offseason and behind the scenes.
Most definitely. We always work together ever since I first came in, but I wouldn't just say just me and Josh, but obviously, like you said earlier, the whole defensive line, we added a lot of size. There's a lot of guys up front that's been working this offseason with us as well, and I feel like all the work that we put in throughout the whole offseason, the whole D-line is going to reap the harvest from it, not just from me and Josh, but all of us playing together as one as a unit, and that's going to help each other make plays.
Final thought with you. What do you want to get out of this final preseason game? Last chance to get something out there before 16 days off before the first regular season game.
Me personally, I definitely just want to go out there and iron out any little wrinkles that I have had, any little concerns. Just want to play fast, physical, and obviously just continuously build that chemistry with the guys on the front end by being one link, and then obviously linking up with the guys on the back end. The rush complements the coverage, and the coverage complements the rush. So I'm just looking forward to all going out there and play for a good little minute to get all the, like I say, just continuously get the wrinkles out.
That is Trayvon Walker earlier this week on the practice field right after practice, and good to hear his thoughts. And, it's different. A true defensive end now, hand on the ground, all that stuff, and putting on a little bit of weight. He can set it. The first thing he said, hey, the lower body, I can feel it in the lower body, and the explosion is there, which is interesting.
Yeah, but he was powerful before putting on some weight recently, and he was very powerful the way that he played before from a 2-point and then also the occasional 3-point, but he's going to be even more powerful with his weight going forward coming out of that 3-point stance. And earlier in the week, watching on Tuesday, defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen really works heavily with the defensive line. You were there too.
Yes.
I mean, he is literally focusing with every guy, hand positioning, where your stance is at. He's working a lot of reps with Mason Smith about his stance, working a lot with Trayvon about hand placement. He played the position, going all the way back to Southern Cal. In fact, he was teammates with Chris Richard at Southern Cal. That's why those two guys, are like peanut butter and jelly, as far as on the defensive staff. But I think the impact of Ryan Nielsen on Trayvon and Josh will be felt significantly this year with this defensive scheme and the way that they play with the hand on the ground.
Back in a moment, Jaguars secondary. We'll see Darnell Savage in the game tomorrow night. But for how long? That's next on the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Eat like a Jag the Fresh from Florida way. Hi everyone, I'm Chef Justin. Head over to freshfromflorida.com and sign up for our loyalty club to unlock interactive perks available only to club members. It's all the great stuff you've loved about freshfromflorida.com and more. For club members, it's an interactive experience that will help you get the most out of your Fresh from Florida recipes. Enjoy all the benefits of being a member. Join the Fresh from Florida Club today.
You've got to watch your NFL team every Sunday, and Verizon's got you covered for all your team's out-of-market games every Sunday afternoon. Come on! From kickoff to sign-off, from first downs and touchdowns to turnovers and overturned plays.
After review, the pass was incomplete.
Nice! Let's go! This season, win every Sunday with Verizon. Get a great deal on NFL Sunday Ticket from YouTube and YouTube TV and a new phone. Excludes digital-only games. Terms and embargoes apply.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Ready, set, go. It's the Labor Day sales event going on now at your local Ford dealer. Come check out the best deals of the summer on Ford trucks and SUVs. Get ready for low financing and big cash back on a huge selection of built Ford tough trucks and adventure-ready Ford SUVs. You've been waiting for our best deals, and your wait is over. Ready, set, go. Hurry into the Labor Day sales event at your local Ford dealer now through September 3rd.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
say that bottom third or even half of your roster, those guys typically end up playing a lot towards the end of the season, right? Because your starters get nicked and might miss some time, and these are the ones that fill in and give you the meaningful, game reps, and they're also the ones playing on special teams, right? And again, it just goes back to our philosophy here is we just got to develop everybody. We've got to keep coaching everybody, and you just can't coach the top third or the top half, right? It's got to be everybody, and I think that and the just the acquiring of players through the draft, through free agency, the last couple of years, you're starting to see now these young players really emerge and do some good things.
Head coach Doug Pederson earlier this week. This is the Doug Pederson Show, presented by Fresh from Florida on the Jaguars Radio Network, presented by UF. A lot of decisions to come in the next week. The roster has to be down to 53 by Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Well, a guy who should be on the roster is Darnell Savage. They brought him on in free agency, and the safety, I guess by trade, he could play some nickel. They can move him around a little bit. Has had a red jersey on. He's had a shoulder issue. That came off this week, Logs. And he's been out there on the practice field, and, he's a piece of what they want to do in that secondary. There's a lot of flexibility among their personnel back there.
Well, I think Darnell Savage gives you a little flexibility, but also Antonio Johnson. Last year we saw Antonio Johnson kind of fill that role like what Hamilton does in Baltimore, where he can play some nickel, he can play some safety, he can play some dime, all about the matchups. And so with Johnson, Savage, that gives you a lot of kind of things that you can maybe surprise an offense with from the back end. Just because you got Savage lined up as a nickel doesn't mean he's going to play nickel, because you might flip-flop him and Antonio Johnson. So I like that. When coaches have flexibility to disguise what they're doing, that's kind of the ultimate chess piece. But you got to have guys that have positional flexibility to do that, and some of these guys do for the Jaguars.
And awareness of all those positions. You could say, you can play these things, but physically, but if you're not aware enough to be able to handle the duties of that,
right?
That's another thing.
You got to be able to do that.
Yep.
So I'm looking forward to what I think the interesting thing to me is that. Okay, about Tyson Campbell. That Ronald Darby has been kind of a journeyman player, solid player. But what's behind that at corner? Is Jerrion Jones going to be the guy? Now they drafted him for a reason in the third round. But the guy that really I think is shining a little bit in my eyes is DeAndre Prince. I think he's got legitimate starting cornerback potential. I'm not saying now. I'm just saying in the future. How many times, JP, you go back in 2 preseason games, how many times do you recall him being targeted? Not much, right? Really not much. The one deflection, he almost had an interception. And the reason that I bring that up is that I think quarterbacks aren't targeting him because his coverage has been really tight. He got really good hips, effortless speed. Can play on top of a guy without being scared of getting run by. And that's a rare trait to have.
Where are you with Monteric Brown, third-year corner out of Arkansas?
Kind of lukewarm. I'm okay with him.
Had a lot of time late last year.
Yeah, had a lot of time late. The one thing I like about him is that he's got some experience, and I don't think the moment's going to be too big for him. But if I had a choice of putting him or a DeAndre Prince on a guy that can burn – you can't coach speed, JP.
No, it's hard
to.
You
can't coach speed.
Let's come back in a moment and get into the wide receiver room. Who will be the 6th receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars? We want answers from you, Jeff.
I'll give you an answer.
Okay, not yet. Just give us a second. We'll come back. Register your furry friend for the Jaguars official 4-legged fan club for pets. It's presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. Your pet will receive access to exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. And this is the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.
Ranked as the nation's best public university by the Wall Street Journal, the University of Florida is on a mission to transform education. UF continues to help grow the economy through research breakthroughs and leadership in AI. And with its nationally recognized career services, UF students and graduates have never been better prepared to make a difference in the world. To learn more about how the University of Florida fuels bold ideas that make an impact around the globe, visit fromflorida.ufl.edu.
Ready, set, go. It's the Labor Day sales event going on now at your local Ford dealer. Come check out the best deals of the summer on Ford trucks and SUVs. Get ready for low financing and big cash back on a huge selection of built Ford tough trucks and adventure-ready Ford SUVs. You've been waiting for our best deals, and your wait is over. Ready, set, go. Hurry into the Labor Day sales event at your local Ford dealer now through September 3rd.
Jaguars fans are gearing up and saving big at Fanatics.com, the world's largest collection of officially licensed fan gear from all the leagues, teams, and Jaguars players you love. Shop the most trusted brands, exclusive designs by Fanatics, and autographed collectibles from today's biggest stars. Join Fanatics Rewards today and earn fan cash on every purchase. Shop now and get today's special offer. Fanatics.com, officially licensed everything.
Jags fans, a new Everbank Performance account could be your ticket to London this October. Through the Everbank London Getaway, one lucky winner and a guest will receive round-trip airfare, hotel accommodations, and a pair of tickets to see the Jags play in London. To learn more and for official rules, visit everbank.com/London. No person necessary to enter or win. Open to legal residents of 50 United States and D.C. 18 or older. Entry period for the Everbank London Getaway Suites is from 8/5/24 to 9/5/24. To enter and for official rules, alternate method of entry, prize description, odds of winning, and other details, visit everbank.com/London. Sponsor and administrator, Everbank N.A.
Are you ready for some football? Well, you are now, thanks to Ticketmaster. As the official ticket marketplace of the Jacksonville Jaguars and the NFL, Ticketmaster's got the best way to take it to the house when it comes to being there live. They're the safest and most convenient marketplace to score fully verified Jaguars tickets. And even if your plans get broken up or worse, turned over, Ticketmaster gives you more flexibility to sell your seats. So get those touchdown celebrations ready and score your tickets today at Ticketmaster.com/Jaguars.
If you are an experienced electrician looking for your next big opportunity, look no further than the Miller Electric Company, a trusted name in the industry for over 96 years. At Miller Electric, we tackle the biggest projects in the city, offering you the chance to showcase your skills on a grand scale. We believe in rewarding hard work with the best pay, top-notch benefits, and an unbeatable culture where people actually care about each other. Take your career to new heights with Miller Electric Company. Apply today at millercareers.com. Miller Electric, an equal opportunity employer.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Yeah, those guys are really showing up. You know, they're making plays all over the field, and you saw Tank the other night, just how powerful he can be running the football and just improving, and he's going to be a great addition for the run game. And as you mentioned, you know, Ventrell getting those reps. Foyer's not there, so he's be able to step in and do some great things. And you know, and really this is his first year, you know, because he missed last year, but he's done a great job. Braswell's done a great job. You look at all these guys, second-year players that are just getting opportunities, and it's part of that developmental theme, you know, of just developing your roster and letting these guys perform, and it's benefiting them.
Head coach Doug Pederson on the second-year players on the roster, taking a jump. And welcome back. It's the Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida. JP Shadrick with Jeff Lageman. We'll have the head coach in studio with us before the Week 1 game against the Miami Dolphins. That's a couple weeks away. But this week it's preseason Week 3. And the Jaguars face the Falcons tomorrow night at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. One of those second-year players who's performed well in the preseason and training camp is Parker Washington, the wide receiver room. You know, going into this camp, we always kind of go down the roster. Okay, who's going to make it before you even see a practice, right?
Yeah, we play general manager.
We do. We're not very good at it sometimes, but it happens. You knew Gabe Davis, Brian Thomas Jr., Devin Duvernay they just got, and Christian Kirk. Those were the 4. And at the start of training camp, it was like, okay, let's see what Parker can do.
Mm-hmm.
And then the 6th was like, okay, who's going to be the 6th guy? There were a bunch of guys here, right? Well, Parker's solidified himself. I think that's pretty clear, the way he's played. So the question now is, who is the sixth receiver? Duvernay will likely be your return specialist and, fourth kind of receiver.
Well, let me ask you a question before you talk about who's the sixth. Are you sure it's going to be 6, or could it be 7 receivers?
You think it could be 7?
Well, you never know. I mean, it's a passing league, right? You have 3 and 4 wide receiver sets. Devin Duvernay is a return specialist.
Yeah, but they could use him in some roles, and then Parker out there. That's a good question. That's a lot of receivers to keep, though.
Let's give 7 names in order. That way, if they're at 6, then people would have an idea of who our 6 would be, and then who maybe the 7th would be if they have 7.
Go for it.
So you have your starting group: Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr., and Gabe Davis.
That's 3.
That's your 3 starting and 3 wide receiver sets and 11 personnel. 11 personnel, for those that don't know, you have 1 running back and 1 tight end. Okay? That's how you have 11.
Thank
and then the unspoken number is always wide receivers. Okay, the next guy up, I would say, is Devin Duvernay. He's your return guy. Okay, I'm still keeping him in with the wide receiving room.
That's 4.
Parker Washington is 5. Okay, at 6, the 6th wide receiver has to be a guy that can play special teams and play it well. Tim Jones is still in command of that spot.
4th-year guy, Southern
He
Miss.
showed it again this year that he is a valuable special teams player, and he is a dependable wide receiver. The 7th wide receiver could be on the outside looking in. Don't know. That's Elijah Cooks, who last year was the highest-rated wide receiver according to PFF in the preseason. Had a drop last week. Special teams performance has not been up to the standards of Tim Jones. And again, at that number 6 wide receiver position, it has to be a guy that can ball on special teams.
When you say special teams, you don't mean as a returner. You mean as a gunner, as
Coverage
a core guy.
Guy on kickoff, a blocker on kickoff return, protection in punt, and also in punt returns. And the one thing about Tim Jones, very good gunner on punt team.
Yeah.
He's not as good as Daniel Thomas, but he's very good.
He can hold his own. All right, so we figured it out. So they wouldn't keep 7, though, would they?
I don't think so.
Unless somebody's just stupendous at special teams.
If Elijah Cooks...
But if that's the storyline, it's like, okay, is Cooks...
If Cooks had the preseason camp that he had last year, I think you're making a case to keep 7.
But he didn't. Or he hasn't so far, has he?
Correct.
Okay.
Do you factor in past performance?
what have you done for me lately?
Or do you say, hey, look, we need our players to take the next step, and he hasn't taken the next step? I don't know.
We'll see what they...
It doesn't matter what me and you think.
No, we could talk till we're blue in the face.
It matters what Doug Pederson and Trent Baalke think and their staffs.
You're invited to a very special evening with John Legend live in concert for a night in stories at Daly's Place this Saturday. Don't miss a special intimate performance. For tickets and info, visit dailysplace.com. We'll wrap it up in a moment. It's the Doug Pederson Show on Jaguars Radio.
Eat like a Jag the fresh from Florida way. Hi everyone, I'm Chef Justin. Head over to freshfromflorida.com and sign up for our loyalty club to unlock interactive perks available only to club members. It's all the great stuff you've loved about freshfromflorida.com and more. For club members, it's an interactive experience that will help you get the most out of your Fresh from Florida recipes. Enjoy all the benefits of being a member. Join the Fresh from Florida Club today.
Facing cancer takes a lot of determination, strength, and support. And you'll get it all at Baptist MD Anderson Cancer Center. Determination from world-renowned doctors, giving you specialized treatment with cutting-edge technology and research. Strength and support from a dedicated team, caring for you completely, during and after treatment. Don't face cancer with anything less than the team at Baptist MD Anderson. Appointments available at baptistmdanderson.com.
Mr. Chubby's Wings is a whole lot more than just wings. Craving the ultimate game day experience? Look no further. Swing by Mr. Chubby's and indulge in the biggest and best wings in town, all while soaking up the lively atmosphere with fellow sports fans. With plenty of game day specials and locations on the West Side, Fleming Island, Ponte Vedra Beach, and new this season, Everbank Stadium, they're here for all your game day needs. Mr. Chubby's Wings is a proud partner of the Jacksonville Jaguars. Mr. Chubby's Wings, before the game, after the game, and during the game.
Ready to fuel up for summer fun? Join the MyGate Rewards loyalty program and pump up the savings. This summer, become a new loyalty member and save 25 cents per gallon on your first fill-up. Already a member? Now you can earn rewards 10 times faster. For every $10 spent in store, save 5 cents per gallon at the pump. Stop by Gate today to crank up your summer savings. Offer ends August 31st, 2024.
Hey Jaguars fans, as the official whiskey sponsor of the NFL, it's not kickoff without the generous spirit of Crown Royal. And that's why they've built the Crown Royal Rig. An absurdly awesome 18-wheeler delivering the generous spirit to stadiums and tailgates across the country. Follow the Royal Rig on its journey from city to city, bringing together local cuisine, NFL legends, and the opportunity to pack a purple bag for charity and win tickets to Super Bowl 59. Visit crownroyal.com for rules and more. Please drink responsibly. The 2024 season is pawsome. Register your pet for the Four-Legged Fan Club, presented by Forever Vets Animal Hospital. Your furry friend can access exclusive merchandise, events, and sweepstakes throughout the season. Fan club members will be automatically entered to win the Pet of the Game sweepstakes with 2 Jags tickets and sideline passes for pet owners and the chance for your pet to be featured on the video boards as Pet of the Game. Visit jaguars.com/promotions/Four-Legged Fan Club to sign up.
Welcome back. The Doug Pederson Show continues right now.
Welcome back. Doug Pederson Show presented by Fresh from Florida on the UF Jaguars radio network. JP Shadrick, Jeff Lageman. Final thoughts ahead of the 7:06 official kickoff time tomorrow in Atlanta. Jaguars, Falcons. Jaguars radio network coverage starts at 6 o'clock with countdown to kickoff. We'll hear from Corey Robinson, cornerback coach. And we'll hear from Trayvon Walker, Jaguars defensive end. All that's coming up before the game. And, of course, looking forward to this game, Logs. With the starters going, they got 9 plays week 1. They didn't play at all last week. And now there's a real good look to see what this Jags team might have to offer.
Yeah, I don't know how or what you would consider a real good look.
They're playing.
That's the good
look.
Playing. But I just want everybody to come out of this thing healthy, because you want to be able to go to Miami at full strength. And, but 2 weeks is a long time, from playing in a game-type situation. And a lot's going to happen between tomorrow night and then opening day in Miami from a roster standpoint. There's always a little bit of a change. It's kind of eerie because you're in a locker room with, 80, 90 guys or whatever it is. And then all of a sudden, after the cuts, it's like you're looking around going,
where'd it go?
Where'd everybody go?
There's room in here.
Yeah, and there's a lot of open lockers, and it's very different. I don't want to say it's shocking, but it's definitely very different, and it takes a little bit of adjusting. But I think from a player standpoint, you get excited about it because you know who your opponent's going to be, you know who's going to be in their starting lineup, and now you can really zero in and hone in on the game plan and also studying your opponent.
Logs, have a great trip to Atlanta.
Thank you.
And have a great call. We'll talk to you at some point, because we won't have this show next week.
Wish me luck on I-75.
We all need it. We all need it. That's Jeff Lageman. I'm JP Shadrick. Thanks to our entire crew. Of course, Joe Fortunato, Brent Reber. Thanks to you for listening. The Jaguars and the Atlanta Falcons wrap up the preseason tomorrow night at Mercedes-Benz Stadium in Atlanta. It's a 7:06 kickoff time. Network coverage at 6 o'clock. Countdown to kickoff. Hope you'll join us then. Thank you for listening to the Doug Pederson Show on the Jaguars Radio Network.